You are Locked On Braves POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Braves POSTCAST, part of the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. We appreciate you joining us here on a Sunday, the final day of the first half of the season. So not only are we going to wrap up the first half finale, we're also going to take a look back at how we got where we are over the first 94 games of the year, with 68 big ones out in front of the Braves, who have 12 more head-to-head meetings with the Mets. One of the many storylines we'll get to in this one will also just assess how exactly Atlanta was able to pull its season out of a slow start and put itself right back in playoff contention. Before I get too far ahead of myself, though, let me remind you to subscribe on YouTube to the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. 2,500 folks have done so. We'd love for you to join us as well. And make sure you subscribe to Locked On Braves wherever you get your podcast. Jake, this was not the note that the Braves wanted to close the first half on, but I want to put you in the Wayback Machine all the way back to the second week or so of April. If I told you at the All-Star break the Braves will be 18 games over 500, your answer is?
I will take it, absolutely.
And that is what I think is kind of the crux of where we are. Now, that it glosses over a lot of details, and of course the Braves did start a little bit slower than they wanted to, but they found their way, I think, to where they needed to be. Sunday's game against the Washington Nationals notwithstanding, this was another series win for the Braves, and they've been racking those up pretty regularly since June the 1st.
They have, and yeah, I mean, and to your point, like if you wouldn't tell me like what the standings are, and you just told me the Braves are 18 games over 500 at the break, yeah, I mean, I would be ecstatic all day long, and I think you should be as a Braves fan. And yeah, taking care of a business against a Nationals team, and look, I'm not taking anything away from the Nationals on Sunday. That's the first time I've really thought I saw the Braves kind of just, I don't want to say mail it in, but I think they were definitely looking forward to this All-Star break. There were some plays in this game where I just felt like there wasn't full effort, especially defensively overall. But again, with the first half for this Braves team, where they are now, I think you just have to be ecstatic as a Braves fan. Because I think there's things, and obviously we'll get to it in the second half where they could be even better.
Yeah, I don't really question the effort as much as maybe the execution on this day. And keeping in mind, and we've talked about this for quite a while, this is the end of 20 games in 20 days. That's a pretty long run without an off day up to the All-Star break. And they did take the series from Washington. But let's talk a little bit about game number 94. Go quickly through this because we do have a lot to get to here. Finale of the four-game set. The Braves now 56-38 to close out the first half. Just 3 runs on 6 hits and error, 7 men left aboard. Nationals 31-63, 7 runs, 7 hits and error, 2 men left. Steve Cishek picks up the win in relief. He's 1-2. Spencer Strider took the loss, drops to 4-3. Game lasted 2 hours, 54 minutes, crowd at 26,043 on hand to see it. Spencer in this game, just 4 innings for him. I'm sure that based on the pitch count that he racked up over those 4 frames, was kind of a product of it, but hit a little bit harder in this one and made a couple of mistakes, and the Nationals are a major league team, and they did make him pay.
Yeah, I mean, really that second inning, and he almost got out of it. 2 outs, then you had, a hit that dropped in front of Michael Harris. Then you give up the home run to Robles. That's what really stung, in that inning. But I mean, overall, 82.6 mile per hour average exit velocity against. Like I said, he got hit hard in that second inning, but overall, it wasn't a ton of great contact against him, but still just didn't have the command really that we've seen from him, in the past. Sure, not his sharpest outing, obviously, but yeah, I mean, I think getting him out of there after 4 innings, you got the All-Star break coming up. I'm really excited to see what he has for us in the second half. And again, I think he's the Rookie of the Year leader right now. Again, I think his biggest competition comes from the guy in center field there. But I love what Spencer Strider's done. This start, maybe not his best, obviously, and coming off one where he only went 4 2/3 out last time, didn't have the greatest command. So hopefully this little break in the All-Star game and everything will do him some good as well and come back out fresh, ready to go in the second half.
Yeah, I think everybody could. Spencer's going to get, about a week or so off, because he is the final starter here, and the way it'll line up in the second half, he'll get a little bit of a reset there in the middle of the season. I'm sure a lot of his Braves teammates will enjoy that as well. Oddly enough, the Nationals were able to out-homer the Braves on this day just via the Robles blast. And then, of course, Juan Soto had to put an exclamation point on things as he got his batting average up over 250 in the first half, and he has been on quite a tear. And he's actually my pick in the home run derby. So we'll see how that all works out. I don't know that will give him much more motivation than he already has, but I think that he could take the whole thing. So we'll see how it works out. Before we get into a little bit of a recap and some discussion about what was great about the first half, I want to remind you, as always, the main sponsor of the Braves Postcast is, of course, Coffee AM, and it's an Atlanta-based small batch coffee roaster. And if you go to coffeeam.com right now, coffeeam.com/locked on, that is, you can check out their full menu, coffees, teas, gift sets, all kinds of stuff for you to order there. That's coffeeam.com/locked on. Use the coupon code locked on at checkout. You get 15% off your first order. Coffee AM, the best small batch coffee roaster in America. They sent me a great box full of stuff personalized to me, and I have not found anything I don't like yet, and I don't expect to at this point because I am a man who likes his coffee. I'm also a man who likes to see more wins than losses, and the Braves certainly accomplished that in the first half. And it was, I think, as much of anything, an effort by a lot of different players at a lot of different times, playing a lot of different roles for this club to allow them to get to where they got, particularly thanks to that 14-game winning streak at the start of June, because the Braves did not start out this season the way that they wanted to. I thought, Jake, it would be kind of fun to go through some first-half standouts, and if you had to name an MVP for the first half of the season, I know it's kind of an arbitrary thing, but who would be your Braves MVP at this point?
Yeah, I think me and you have both talked about it a lot. I think it's got to be Dansby Swanson. I mean, you look past the 3 week cold stretch he had to start the year. I mean, he's really been the leader, carried this team throughout, been one of the most consistent players on this team. Like I said, outside of that first 2 to 3 weeks of the season. So for me, it's Dansby Swanson. What he's done offensively, obviously, what he does, at shortstop primary position there, and what he's done with the bat and stealing more bases this year as well. So I just think he's given you a little bit of everything and been great. And when the team wasn't going as well there in the early going, I thought he was the one guy that really kind of kept them afloat and helped them not fall too far out. So yeah, it's got to be Dansby Swanson for me.
Yeah, I think Dansby's been my guy since the very start of the season. But man, the month of July has given Austin Reilly a very good case to be the Braves MVP of the first half as well. And 68 games remaining for him to maybe figure out a way to not only be the Braves MVP, but maybe finally get into the National League MVP discussion he should have been more into last year. Top pitcher. I know that Max Fried is probably going to win this and be the guy at the end of the year that you'll look at and say, this is the ace, this is the top pitcher for the Braves. But I got to give the edge to Kyle Wright. How about you?
Yeah, I think it's got to be Max Fried. I mean, he's a leader of your rotation. Been that guy that, if you're on a losing streak, he would stop it. If you're on a winning streak, he was going to keep it going. I mean, the Braves won just about every time he goes out there. So, he's obviously the ace, but I think Kyle Wright has been, probably the biggest reason for this Braves pitching staff, starting rotation, the way that it is. Spencer Strider, obviously, as well. But you didn't know what you were going to get out of Kyle Wright coming into this season. And, here he is, ERA under 3 going into the All-Star break. It's really been incredible what he's done and how he's kind of asserted himself into one of the best starting rotations in all of baseball.
Yeah, it's certainly helping the Braves to get where they need to right now in the standings has been how the starting rotation has come into focus. And to me, and again, I think Max Fried is clearly the Braves ace. And at the end of the year, if you're giving out an award, it's probably going to be to Max Fried. But for Kyle Wright, he was kind of one of those, he's been a glue piece for Atlanta. And what he's done with the expectations kind of being, I mean, jury was out as to what was going to happen, as you mentioned. He has been able to really stabilize Atlanta's rotation in a way that it's needed it because Charlie Morton has had some ups and downs. Ian Anderson has as well. You already had a question in the fifth spot of the rotation. Max Fried has been Max Fried, but I think Kyle Wright has played an integral part in the Braves rotation, as you mentioned. Top surprise of this year, I think there's 2 guys, and we talked about it, and it always comes up, Rookie of the Year. And it's you like Spencer Strider, of course, and for good reason. I know you also like Michael Harris. I think Harris might have the inside track on Rookie of the Year thus far, but man, I will not complain if these two just kind of fight it out for that award for the remainder of the season, because that means things will be going pretty well for the Atlanta Braves. If those 2 guys continue what they did in the first half, they've been great.
Yeah, they have been. And you talk about surprises. I mean, coming into the season, I don't think many people would have picked the Braves to have the Rookie of the Year candidate, and they have 2 of them. It's really been incredible what they've done. I mean, I'll be honest, I never thought Michael Harris would make his debut this year. I mean, with those few at-bats he had at the Double-A level, I thought, spend all year there and then maybe get a shot in spring training. But credit to the Braves, obviously they're sitting there watching him, seeing the confidence in him, and he's been able to come up and really just light a spark into this team. So he's been absolutely incredible out there. And look, I've said it all along. I knew he wasn't going to hit 340 like he would when he come up. But if he hits 250 and just plays defense like he has been, batting in that 9 spot, getting on base, he's shown off some power as well, which was really the one tool everybody said he was still kind of lacking in. So, I mean, he has been absolutely incredible. But, yeah, those two guys, along with Kyle Wright, some of the biggest surprises, William Contreras as well, all-star William Contreras.
Wow, Bill.
So, I mean, the Braves have gotten some really nice surprises in this first half.
They have. You throw Kyle Wright into that mix. Wild Bill Contreras is an all-star for a reason, and he and Travis d'Arnaud both getting their first all-star taste here this week, and pretty unique stories for both of them because Travis d'Arnaud took him about a decade to get there. For Contreras, he's getting there in what will amount to be, I believe, his first full major league season because I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. A couple of stats that jumped off the page this week. Austin Reilly this weekend with his home run in Washington, 27 home runs at the break. This has been kind of a focus of mine, Jake, and I'd be interested to hear if you agree or disagree. I think Austin Riley is going to lead the National League in home runs this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue that with what you've seen over from him the past couple of weeks. I mean, he's maybe the one guy who doesn't want to see this all-star break, although now he's a part of it. I'm sure that's very exciting for him, but the way he's been swinging the bat lately, almost had 3 homers in the game the other day. He is just seeing the ball incredibly well. We talked about it the other day, coming off that 2021 season. Everybody's wondering, can he duplicate that? And is that really the player that Austin Riley is? Is he really an MVP type candidate annually? And I think, he's starting to answer that question. Obviously got the second half of the season to go. So it's really been amazing to see what he's done sitting there in the middle of that order for the Braves. And yeah, would not be surprising again with the home run barrage he's had lately. If he were able to lead the league or at least the National League in home runs.
Yeah, 9 home runs here in July if you're counting, and most of us are, and only 6 home runs shy of matching the 33 homers he hit in his breakout season a year ago. With Kyle Wright's 11 wins, Max Fried with 10 wins, the first set of Braves teammates to do that prior to the All-Star break. That's win 10 or more games since 2011. So that's a feather in both of their caps. And, of course, Max Fried is an All-Star, not going to pitch in the game, but a big reason for the Braves' success, both those men. And what if I told you that Dansby Swanson is top 10 in Fangraphs wins above replacement in all of baseball? He checks in at 7th as of Sunday evening, and that's tied with Freddie Freeman, who's been awfully good for the LA Dodgers, especially lately. And now it's all-star Freddie Freeman. So congrats to both of those guys. I'm sure they'll look forward to reuniting in Los Angeles. Meanwhile, as the Braves are 2.5 games back in the National League East, the team itself will have quite a few days in order to maybe reset a little bit and enjoy the all-star break outside of the 6 men heading out to Los Angeles to partake in the all-star game. And then everything will begin in the second half on Friday against the Los Angeles Angels, who make their first visit to Truist Park and their first visit to Atlanta since 2014. Hopefully, there'll be a lot of big moments for the Braves. And as always, I want to remind you to make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off a purchase of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement pieces. Use the code Locked On. That is code Locked On. Every order is insured, ships free, arrives in discreet packaging, and won't give away what's inside. So shop stress-free and find your forever piece at BlueNile.com today. First game of that 3-game Angels series happens on Friday night at Truist Park. 7:20 p.m. Eastern time is the first pitch, but enjoy the All-Star game. Enjoy all of the festivities that go with it. And, Jake, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, who do you have in the home run derby?
Yeah, look, I got to go with the front runners. I got to go with either Schwarber or Alonso. I'm going to go with Schwarber, just saying Alonso doesn't get the three-peat, but I think it comes down to those two.
Well, I'd be interested to see, I am interested to see exactly how many home runs are going to be hit by some of these guys because they are going to hit some balls a long way and they're going to hit an awful lot of them as well. And if Pete Alonso can pull off a three-peat, 3 in as many years, he might want to think about just retiring and riding off into the sunset. But we'll see. He's got to get past Ronald Acuna Jr. in that first round. I expect Ronald to put on a show as well. The home run derby happens on Monday. Then on Tuesday, get the All-Star game. Then the Braves will have a couple of days off before getting back in action at Truist Park on Friday night against Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, and the Los Angeles Angels. For Jake Mastroianni, I'm Grant McAuley. Thank you for using your first half or for spending your first half with us here as the Braves are on the march for their 5th consecutive division title. 18 games over 500 at the half is a pretty good way to check in, but a lot of work to be done over the next 68 games, and we hope you'll hang out with us. Make sure to subscribe to the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta right here on YouTube, and make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Braves wherever you get your podcast. Once again, for Jake, I'm Grant. We look forward to catching you in the second half, and until then, so long, everyone.